Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at how to build this dashboard you can see on your screen using Power BI. This is known as overall equipment effectiveness, a metric used in manufacturing to measure productivity. And here we have the availability, performance and quality and the overall equipment effectiveness here. Here we have a number of the sum of the time that the machine was at normal, plant stop, fault or idle. Then here we have the proportion of the good and bad count. And here we have a slicer whereby when we select which machine that we are interested in, because right now we are looking at line 1, which is currently at 75 of the OEE, which is close to our target of 80%. And line 2, when we look at line 2, you have that line 2 is currently at 49%, which is not so productive. Here we have the number of success and failure, runtime and downtime, run rate, and the ideal run rate of the company, which is 3.4. So let's get started. I'm going to put the data used in the description below if you want to follow along. So the first thing we're going to do is to create our background. I usually create my background using PowerPoint. So I'm going to insert a picture, insert picture this device, download. Um, this is the picture I'm going to use, and I will insert a shape. Before that, let me adjust this picture to cover my slide. Then the shape, color, choosing the black theme, ensure that it covers the picture. Then on the field, I'm going to edit the transparency. I'll set that to 80% because I want the picture to be reflecting. So we have the reflection of the picture. Then I will insert another shape, change the fill, insert another, and no outline, as well as this no outline. So I'm going to click on all, group them, then save as picture. Saving this as SVG. Now on Power BI, we're going to import our background. Background, browse, change the transparency to 0, then fit. So we have our background. The next thing we're going to do is to import the data. Click on Excel workbook, OEE. Our data is clean, so we are not actually going to do any transformation. And like I said, the link to the data set is in the description if you want to follow along. So we're going to be importing these two sheets, OEE count and state. Now our data has been imported here, so we can look at it on the table view. You can see the count. We have the measurement column, which contains the description of the count, whether it's a bad count or good count. Then the value of that timestamp line, which machine in particular, whether it's line 1 or 2. Then the time, duration time. Then here we have the OEE state. And for this state, the value which is plan stop, normal, ideal, or faulty. Then we have timestamp, line, and time. Then we're going to quickly create a relationship between the two because we have line on the two of them and we want to use line as a slicer. So I will just connect these two together. So we have that relationship. Then next thing we're going to do is to start writing the measures that we're going to use to create this report. So for that, I'm going to create a table for my measures. The first two sets of measures we are going to be creating, we'll be using the state column for that. And for that, we are going to be creating the runtime and the downtime. The runtime is going to be the sum of this time column where the value is equal to normal, while the downtime is going to also be the sum of this time column where the value is not equal to normal. It could be idle, fault, or plan stop. So to create that, I will right click on my measure table, new measure, and paste that. So we have the runtime first, and this is basically a calculate function. So it's summing the time column and filtering the state table where the value column is equal to normal. Then enter. So I'll copy this also for the downtime because it's opposite of this particular one, new measure. Paste that. So I'm going to change this to downtime where the value is not equal to, change this to not equal to normal. The next set of measure we're going to be creating will be using the count table for that. And it's basically the number of successes and failures, which is similar to what we did with state. But this time, we are going to sum the time column where the measurement is equal to good count for success and bad count for failures. So I'll right click on measure. For successes, we have calculate function, sum the value column, filter the count table where the measurement column is equal to good count. Then I'll copy this for failures. So in this case, instead of equal to good count, it's going to be equal to bad count. Next measure we're going to be creating is the run rate. In this particular part, we're going to be using this measure. So for run rate, we are basically dividing a number of successes that we've created, um, the addition of number of successes and failures by the runtime that we have also calculated. So we are just going to use this divide function, sum the successes and failures, then divide that by the runtime to get the run rate. Then I'm going to add another measure here, which is basically going to be a hard-coded measure. For my analysis, I'm going to be using the ideal run rate as 3.4. So I'm just going to hard code that. You can choose the run rate that you decide for your company. Now we can start calculating the core OEE matrices. Let me quickly delete this column. We don't need that. So the first of the OEE measures that we're going to be looking at is availability, which is the percentage of time operation was available. So to calculate that, we are using this, the previous measures that we've created. In this case, we are dividing the runtime divided by the sum of runtime and downtime to get that availability. So this is going to be in percentage. So I'll change that to percentage. Next is quality, which is the percentage of good units produced. So I'm going to create the measure as well. So it's basically dividing the success by the sum of the success and failures to find the percentage of good unit produced. So that is quality, and it's going to also be in percentage format. The next is performance, which is basically the speed at which the work runs as against the design speed, which is where the ideal run rate that we have comes into play. So right now we have the run rate divided by the ideal run rate to calculate the performance for that the machines that we have. So we are going to also change this format to percentage. And the final measure that I'm going to do, this is going to be hard coded as well, the target for all this. And I'm looking at making the target 80%. So you can choose yours depending on what is feasible for your company. So it's going to also be in percentage as well. Finally, is the OEE, the overall equipment effectiveness, which is basically a measure of how productive this our system is. So, and to calculate this, we're just going to multiply quality multiplied by availability and performance to get the OEE. So, availability multiplied by quality and performance gives us the overall equipment effectiveness. So, that is that for the OEE. We now change the format to percentage as well. So we start creating the visualization. We start with the OEE, and I want it as a gauge. And I want the number of decimal places. Let me just click on that. Number of decimal places to be zero. Format this. Turn off the background. Change the add the target. Drag the target to the target area. So we have the target there as 80. So let me change the colors to fit our theme. Color value 0. Um, White, and target label white as well. Title, that should be white as well. And for this case, the title itself, I will did that to just OEE, and the colors, for the field color we have this yellow, and for the target color we have the shade of green. So the next one is going to be availability. I'll copy this and paste it. Since I need, like, I'm going to have like four, so I'll paste this in four places and change them since they're all going to be in the same format. So this one is going to be availability. We change from OEE to availability and change the number of decimal places to 0. as well as title to availability. Next is the performance. I'll remove the OEE, add performance to that, change the title to performance, and also the number of decimal places to 0. Finally, I have quality. Click on that, change the title to quality, and from OEE to quality, and change the number of decimal places as well to 0. This is already 0. Okay. So we have this side now. The next part, we're going to create the bar chart for the state status. For the bar chart, I'll click on the normal bar chart, drag that down here. So since it's going to be the state, we're going to use the state column. And for our y-axis, we have the value, and x-axis, we have the sum of time. And for the legend, we have line. I'm going to change this to clustered bar chart so that we have the line 1 and line 2 separate. Then I'll start formatting the chart itself. Background, title, text color white, and the legend. We don't want the legend title, and the bars itself. We want the colors, the line 1 to be green, and line 2 to be yellow to fit our color theme. And next is the grid lines. We don't want the grid lines. And we want to turn on our data label. And for the y-axis, we want the font to be white. X-axis, we want to turn that off. Then our data label, we want the font to be white, and display unit none. So I'm going to number of decimal places, um 0. So that is our state status. Adjust that. Then the next one, we are going to be looking at the proportion of the good count versus the bad count. We'll be using the pie chart for this. And for this, we are going to be using the count table and the measurement versus the value. So we're going to format this. Text color is white. Turn off the background. The legend, we don't want the legend title. We want the position to be bottom center, and title, turn that off. text itself will be white. Then detail label, the label is going to just be the percent of total. Then for the slices, bad count, we want this to be green, and for the good count to be yellow. For the label itself, value, we want it to be white. Then for our title, we change the title to count status. And going back to this, I'll change the legend to the text of the legend to white to fit our. So we have this too. Next thing we're going to do is to create a card visual to show other KPIs. So for that, we click on the chart, new card. I'll be adding success, failures, runtime, downtime, run rate, and ideal run rate. So I will edit this to show all the matrices. So on the layout, we have grid. The number of rows is 3 rows. Number of rows is 3 rows versus two. Adjust that. Then turn off all backgrounds. Then for the call out value, we want everything to be white and the label also to be white. Increase the label to 14. Okay, for all values, I want the size to be 35 for all. Then for the individual values, so says I want the value to show none, failure, so that all the values will be displayed. Runtime and downtime. So for that reason, I click on all and reduce the font to 30, which is fine. Then for the individual times, I don't want any decimal place. And run rate, I mean run time, I don't want any decimal place as well. It's just add comma to separate them, and I will do the same for others. downtime, comma separated, successes, add comma to separate to make it readable as well. So finally, I'm going to add the accent bar. Just search for that, turn it on. The color of it is going to be yellow and make it 3 pixel. The next thing is to add a slicer for our machines. We're using the new slicer. Then we will click on line on any of the tables because we have joined them together. So whichever one that we use is fine. Then I will format this, the layout on this particular one, maximum rows to show two, and just show single row. Turn off the background, and the title itself is going to be, the font will be white. Then the buttons selected is going to be white, but I mean on default is white, but when you select, we want the fill color to be green. So when I select one, so right now line 2 is selected, the fill is green. Line 1, when I select line 1, line 1 is selected. Okay. So right now you can see that this is affecting this and I don't want this to filter this. So I'll click on this chart slicer, format, edit interaction, turn this off. I want the two lines to always show. Then edit interaction again. Finally, we're going to be adding a text box for our title. So type overall equipment effectiveness. OEE. Change the size to 24. Adjust that here. Turn off the background. And the font, I want the font to be white. I've also downloaded an icon. So I will insert image, download icon, adjust that, and move the icon to this end. So this is the end of this report. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.